Hey everyone. Today our subject is about the spectacles of Jesus, or the glasses of the Holy Fathers. I want to talk a little bit about how important it is to have the proper spectacles, to have the proper worldview, to be able to perceive. You know, for most of my life, since I was a little boy, I've loved playing basketball. And unfortunately, as I got older, my eyes deteriorated and I began having to play basketball with my glasses on. And I can still remember the first real difficulty I had in the middle of a game. I was wearing my glasses. I had them, strapped on with a croaky, but still I got hit in the low post so hard that my glasses just went flying off. It took me several minutes just to find the glasses, and the lenses were all contorted and messed up. I did my best, not wanting to leave the game, to rearrange the glasses and kind of put them back together and strap them back on my head. Unfortunately, when I re-entered the game, the glasses were in different positions, and so one lens was a little further out, one lens was a little closer in, which meant that I was seeing the hoop at two different places based upon which side of my face I was looking at the hoop from. That is not a recipe for clear vision. That is not a recipe to hit the target or to win. Unfortunately, that is very much how we live. The perception that God gives in us is very contorted. And the result of that is that confusion reigns about the most important matters of life. The fall did terrible things to human nature. And one of those things was to eradicate our spiritual vision and to darken our perceptions. Allow me to read from St. Paul's epistle to the Ephesians, chapter 4, where he describes this. This is chapter 4, verses 17 and following. He says, "This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that you should no longer walk as the rest of the Gentiles walk in the futility of their mind, having their understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the hardness of their heart, who being past feeling have given themselves over to licentiousness, to work all uncleanness with greediness. But you have not learned Christ in this way, if indeed you have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus, that you put off concerning your former conduct the old man which grows corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, and that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the new man which was created according to God in righteousness and true holiness." Did you hear those emphases? Dark understanding, ignorance, given to sensuality, impurity with greediness. Could you imagine four better descriptors of our decadent culture? This is a description of how we're living today. Not seeing the target, not perceiving correctly the very intentions in creation that God has fashioned, or what his purposes are for us. And as a consequence, confusion reigns. Confusion about who God is, the most important subject not to be confused about what a human being is, about what sin is, who Jesus is and how he saves us, who the Holy Spirit is, what the church is, what are the principles of spiritual life. Without the glasses of God, without holy tradition, without that faith which was once delivered to the saints and has been preserved and kept in the church, we don't have proper glasses. We're all walking around with great confusion and darkness, not able to perceive the purpose of our life, not being able to see the target, and therefore our aim is completely askew. Now, in the coming months, I'm hoping particularly to address the area of God's gifts of marriage and monasticism and human sexuality, to see if I can provide some holy spectacles from the scriptures and from the writings of the church fathers to help you perceive God's intentions in these incredible gifts. Because we are awash in confusion, and that confusion is having terrible consequences in the lives of ourselves, our own lives, and in our neighbors' lives. This has to do with divorce, infidelity. It has to do with fornication. It has to do with adultery. It has to do with pornography and masturbation and contraception. In fact, we've lost any sense of purpose or form, God divinely given form and calling in these areas at all, and we're awash in chaos. Pretty much the only thing that our culture knows with regards to these areas of marriage, monasticism, and sexuality is that everyone should do what's right in their own eyes. And the consequences are really tremendous and very difficult. You know, St. John writes that we should not love the world or the things in the world. For whoever loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the boastful pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world and its forms are passing away. These things offer nothing to us. They don't dignify man. They don't ennoble his spirit. They don't produce love or peace or sustained joy. In fact, only those ways of living that God himself has bequeathed to us, the way of life, the way of his sacred commandments, bring those things to pass. So I'm hoping in the coming months that you'll stick with me and that I will be able to help you obtain a clarity of vision about marriage, about monasticism, about sexuality, all aspects, different aspects of sexuality that we will be discussing, and that you'll be able then to focus on the target of God's high calling in your life, and you won't have any reason to ape the fallen culture which is around us. And we can fulfill St. Paul's calling, not to be conformed to this world, but to be transformed by the renewal of our mind, so that we might prove what God's perfect and good will is for us. God bless you, and may he help us all to have the glasses of the Holy Fathers.